Welcome everybody. I'm so pleased to introduce Dr. Christy Brown and naturopath slash nutritionist Buffy Gill to teach us all about amazingness and how to look after ourselves. So if you've got questions, put them in the chat box and we'll do our best to answer them. But I will put myself on mute and hand it over to you, Christy.
Thank you. Hi everyone. I feel really honoured to be asked to speak today, so thank you. I love speaking and there's a lot of content to cover, so I'll just fire away, and yeah, like Amy said, if there's any questions, we can deal with that at the end. So a little bit about me, just so that you can understand the long journey that I've been on. I was thinking on reflection that it's often the journey that's the most exciting part rather than the destination of where we are now. So at 45, my health journey has been a long and expansive one. So just a little bit of background for you. I grew up in a small country town in Australia, and unfortunately, I didn't have a very healthy body. From a very young age, I was covered in eczema and psoriasis, and that then led into having asthma. And then all of that led into having severe allergies. So I was allergic to grass, dust, pollens, animal hair, basically everything. My body was just screaming that it wasn't happy. But unfortunately, the options that were available to us back then were mainly the medical model. And so my mum did the best she could to help support my body. But what was really evident that as I was getting older, I was actually getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And this led me on quite a vast journey to try and get well. And at the age of 17, I was introduced to a chiropractor. And it was it was probably one of the most life-changing experiences for me, because it was in that moment that I just broke down in tears, because someone had finally explained to me why my body wasn't functioning well and why I was so sick. So that information is some of the information I'm going to share with you today, and it's literally the, I guess, pivotal point that changed the direction of my health and led me to become a chiropractor and to be able to share this information with you. So I then had the choice, obviously, to change my lifestyle. And then when my husband and I decided that we wanted children, a lot of people were sharing with us that, oh, well, because you had X, Y, and Z, and because you had X, Y, and Z, your children are most likely going to get that because of your genetics. And so we wanted to use the information that we'd learned over the years to see whether we could influence the way that our children were able to express themselves differently to the stories that we'd had from our upbringing. So we used a lot of the I guess, philosophies and the premises that I'm going to share with you today. And we're very grateful that we have a 10-year-old Milan and a 7-year-old Eden, who are the most strong, robust, resilient, natural, vibrant children I have ever known. So I'm grateful for all the information that I was taught over the years and observing all the beautiful children that I got to observe through the chiropractic and vitalistic model. And we were able to then implement that and share that with our girls. And yeah, we're seeing some really, really different outcomes to what we had as our childhood outcomes. So that's where we're going to head today. On top of that, obviously, I am a mother as well, and I come with my own health challenges. So I'm a bit of an A-type personality, and I'm a people pleaser as well. So along my health journey, I remember Oprah always saying that if you don't listen to the whispers, you're going to get the slaps. And if you don't listen to the slaps, you're going to get the big king hits. Well, I was able to embrace all of that, which have been also pivotal in my health journey. So after my children, I had postnatal depletion and / postnatal depression, which was pretty intense. I also, when my daughter was 9 weeks old, had a stroke for no known reason, and then 3 years ago had another stroke. And I think these huge experience for me were my learning curve, to slow down, really listen to my body, start understanding what I was doing and what was happening in my environment, which was causing my body to really scream out and ask me to stop and listen. So from those strokes, I lived with years of anxiety and panic and fear, living in my own body, thinking that it was going to happen again. So I guess the reason I share this with you is because I've been in so many different, I guess, experiences, and using my philosophies and our vitalistic view on health, I've been able to rebuild from all of those and learn some beautiful lessons in the process. So 8 years ago, oils came into my life. And on this day, it was one of the most beautiful days when I opened that first bottle and just got that incredible whiff of goodness. And now oils are probably one of the main tools that we use in our health cabinet. And our girls also use the oils on a daily, hourly basis to help support their physical, emotional, and chemical well-being as well. So we're going to blend the nervous system, chiropractic, and oils together to help give you some insights into how we can live our best lives. So we'll fire away with, I guess, the magnificence of our nervous system. So when chiropractic was first introduced to me, I had the presumption that it was mainly a musculoskeletal thing, which many of our, I guess, environment believe. We think that it's about bones, and we think that it's about bad backs and bad necks and fixing headaches and sciatica. But one of the other beautiful dimensions is our central nervous system, and that encompasses our brain and our spinal cord and all the beautiful spinal nerves that are protected by our spine and our skull. So I'll explain that now to you. So this is the part of the nervous system that really inspires me the most, because this is where we can untap our full healing potential. It's where we can untap our immune system, our hormones, our gut health. And so we have, this is a little model that I'll show you. Obviously, our brain and spinal cord are so fragile and so delicate that they've completely housed it in bone, which was very clever of them. And we have, through the central nervous system, we have two areas, and one of those areas is the autonomic nervous system, which runs our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous system. So you've probably known about those. The sympathetic is our fight or flight, and the parasympathetic is our rest and digest. So basically, many of the premises of a vitalistic philosophy and also a chiropractic philosophy is that we truly believe that within inside us we have our own innate healing. So our body knows exactly how to heal itself. We weren't born with too many organs that they need to be removed, or not enough drugs that we need to add them. We have everything inside of us, and our body is designed to be healthy and well. So we also believe that when there's stress on the nervous system and the brain and the body can't communicate, then our body falls into a state of dis-ease. And after it's stayed in a state of dis-ease for a while, it moves into a state of dysfunction, and then it moves into a state of disease. And so when we have a beautiful, clear, healthy nervous system, our body can sit more in that parasympathetic healing and restorative state. So our body is also designed to sit in what we call homeostasis, which means balance and harmony. And when we are sitting in this state, our body is able to self-heal and self-regulate. What happens is we have the sympathetic nervous system for a reason, that fight or flight, and that's to come in and protect our body whenever our body is in a state where we're feeling, I guess, threatened. So the sympathetic system is designed that if we were to be attacked, or if we were to face, run away from a fire or something, then our body goes into complete shutdown, whereas it doesn't worry about any of our organs. It's just basically for survival. And so that sympathetic nervous system should spike and fire for a very short period of time and then come back to balance and harmony. When we're in a stress state, the body also releases some stress hormones called adrenaline and cortisol. And these stress hormones are very important at that time, but they're not designed to be firing out all the time. They're designed to address the stress, and then come back to balance. So on the other side of our nervous system, we have our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our calm, our digestion, our rest, our restorative nervous system. And ideally, we want to be spending most of our life living in this state. So what happens is many of us, if we're not sitting in balance and harmony, are living with a nervous system that's working way too high or way too low, which is hypo and hyper. And so when the nervous system sits in this state, it moves into a state of disorganization. So it can't organize itself properly, it can't respond to stress properly, it can't fight an immune response properly. And so then the body starts to move out of balance. So what we ideally want is our nervous system sitting in a state of ease and harmony. But what happens is when we have stresses in our external environment or even in our internal environment, our body starts to move away from balance. And when we're in this state, can you imagine putting more stress onto an already stressed state? Our level of adaptation becomes very, very low. So if we were to link that to, if we use a physical example, if we were to use that where someone loves to run and they go out and their nervous system and their pelvis is really out of balance, and then their hamstrings are pulling too tight, their body, rather than sitting in balance, is already starting off in a stress state. Then they go out and run and run and run and run and run. And that stress is they're going to tip them over the edge because they don't have the same level of adaptation to the stress. Okay. So then if we look at that, if someone has anxiety, if our nervous system is peaking and sitting in a state of anxiety, and then we get asked to do one more job, or somebody puts an emotional pressure on us that we can't cope, it doesn't take long for our nervous system to blow its threshold and just push us over the edge. But if our nervous system is sitting in balance and harmony, and that same stress comes onto us, we have a huge amount of space to be able to adapt to that stress. So I hope that makes sense, that if our nervous system is sitting in a clear, safe, homeostatic state, then we can adapt to our stresses so much more appropriately than sitting in a state of stress where our nervous system is just peaking, that it doesn't take much to tip us over. Does that make sense? Cool, okay. So we ideally want to have our nervous system sitting like that as much as possible. So if we look at this sheet here, you can see that our brain sits up here and it sends messages down our spinal cord and out of all our spinal nerves. Now, our nervous system is like a communication pathway. So it's like a major highway with information coming back and forth, back and forth. So information from the body is going to the spinal cord and up to the brain, and information from the brain is coming down the spinal cord and out to the organs. So if we have stress on the nervous system, it causes dysfunction at normally a spinal cord level, top of the skull, between the shoulder blades, in the low back, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. But what it does is it impinges or interrupts the message or the flow of information going between the brain and the organ and the brain. So this is where we see correlations between, if we were to have pressure at the base of our brainstem, which the first time that normally happens is due to the birthing process. So as babies are released out of the birth canal, they often get a huge amount of stress underneath the little skull. So those nerves are really important for what's called our primitive brain reflexes, our suckle, our learning to walk, learning to talk, learning to crawl, integrating all of those reflexes. It also regulates our sleep-wake cycle. It regulates our heart rate and our heart rhythm. It regulates our digestive system through the vagus nerve. So just this one area in our nervous system is just so incredibly important to the way that our body communicates. Then if we have stress through the middle of the thoracic spine, which a lot of us do because of our rounded computer posture, it means that our breath and our lungs can't function as well. If we have pressure down in our low back, these nerves are going down our legs. They're also going to our bowel. They're going to our reproductive organs. They're going to our intestines and colon. So you can see the correlation between where you can have pressure on your nerves and where you could have symptoms. Now, often we don't have symptoms because the body's really clever at wanting to move our body away from pain. And so this is where another part of our education comes in with our children, is we're always looking at symptoms as a way to help us understand what our body is trying to tell us. So we don't try and suppress symptoms. We actually use these as a really clear guide as to what our body is trying to express to us. So if, for example, our children start to get a little bit snotty, we don't go, oh my gosh, they've got a cold. We go with inquiry, why do you think your body's producing too much mucus? What do you think has been happening in your environment or your life that we need to maybe look at to change the way your body's expressing itself? So let's get yourself adjusted and get your immune system and your body's adaptability back to balance. And then, have we been eating too much dairy that produces mucus? Have we been upping our sugar intake? Have we not been getting enough rest? Have we been not having enough nourishing sleep? So when symptoms come up, we use that as a guide to give us an indication of where our body is under stress and why it's moving out of balance. So, and then we can often use the guide through the nervous system to see what organ or area of the body is stressed. Does that make sense? Cool, cool. All right, so I think that makes, we've gone over that. So for us, our nerve supply is our life supply. And if our nerve supply gets irritated or affected by these little nerves coming out of the spinal cord being interrupted, then that's not ideal for our health and our well-being and our ability to adapt. Now, these stresses come into our nervous system for a few different reasons, but we break them down into three: physical, chemical, and emotional. So when the stress comes into our nervous system, the body normally has its own innate healing ability to heal itself. If the body's out of balance and it can't heal itself, that's where a chiropractor will come along and free up the stress on the nervous system, adjust the spine, and bring life and function back to that area. Now, the three stresses, the physical, chemical, and emotional, are what trigger the stress within the nervous system. So we're going to go through those now and let you know what those stresses are. And then Buffy and I will share with you some oils that you can use to. So the first one is physical stress. Probably the easiest way, the easiest one to know where that stress comes from. So pregnancy, carrying a baby in your tiny little beautiful uterus. Often that's where a lot of the first baby's cranial or dural stress will happen, and women can get things from pubic dysfunction to low back to indigestion issues. But then the baby has to be born, and that's when the next physical stress on our bodies happens. Then as our babies start to explore their world, they fall out of high chairs, they fall out of cots, they fall on their bum 100 times as they start to learn to walk. Then as a child, they fall out of trees, they fall off trampolines, they break their arms, they fall off monkey bars and wind themselves. Then we have all the sporting stress on our body. Then we have motor vehicle accidents. Then we have posture, bad sleeping habits, sleeping on our tummy. So there's so many things that physically affect the way our nervous system works. So when we look at the oils that we want to use to support this, we need to be looking at things that are going to help with muscle health, muscle spasm, muscle tension, inflammation. So looking at inflammation is a huge one, and using our oils to really reduce the inflammatory response in our body, and also use the oils to really enhance our cellular health. So if Buffy is there, she isn't.
Hi, Mila.
So I'll run through a few that I've got here, and then Buffy can, oh, here she is now. Cool. So most amazing physical oil, ice blue, the rub or the oil. So whenever we have sore muscles, fatigue, and we're feeling like our beautiful muscles need some support, deep blue and ice blue are phenomenal. Epsom salt baths are absolutely incredible to release physical stress in the body, bring back beautiful minerals back into our system. And so then having an Epsom salt bath with our beautiful oils would be amazing. Then copaiba, turmeric, frankincense, myrrh. They would be my big ones for physical stress. So Buffy, did you want to share insights?
I would love to.
On the inflammatory response and physical stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, all those oils that Christy mentioned are probably our top ones for reducing inflammation in the body. So frankincense, first and foremost, most of you will have that one, has been shown to reduce inflammation in our physical body, but also up into the brain. So exactly the central nervous system that Christy's been talking about. And then more recently, we've learned that turmeric also has similar anti-inflammatory properties in the body. There's quite a lot of research on that. The last one that Christy mentioned is copaiba. So that's a relatively new compound that we've just really been learning about the last a year or two. It has been used for hundreds of years in Latin America. But that is a compound which has really similar properties to medical marijuana. So CBD oil, if you've heard of that, cannabidiol oil, and it works in a similar way that it actually attaches to the cannabinoid receptors in our brain and in our nervous system, and can support inflammation, so physical inflammation, but also mood. And so it has been used, or people have used it for things like anxiousness, anxiety, depression, that type of thing. Were there any other ones you mentioned, Christy?
What are your beautiful blends to put in an Epsom salt bath? If somebody, like if a child's fallen off a monkey bar and just feels so sore around the ribs and the little body's just crying out, or broken, those sorts of things, like really putting them.
Yeah, I love Epsom salt baths, and if it was for kids, then my top three would be lavender, Roman chamomile, and frankincense. Personally,
beautiful.
They're all really, really calming oils, and particularly lavender and Roman chamomile are really safe oils to use with kids. They also have lovely properties just from a skin perspective. So in terms of soothing and calming for the skin. I actually had just popped out to change Torrance nappy, and he's got quite a red bottom at the moment. So I do a similar thing topically there, where I've got a little oil that I spray on, and it's got lavender, Roman chamomile, and frankincense in it, as well as a bit of tea tree. So same sort of concept in the Epsom salts bath. If it was for sort of an older child, so into the teenage years, then that's when you could use something a little bit stronger. So I have known people to take baths with just a single drop of ice blue in it, and actually find it extremely therapeutic in terms of like a muscle soak.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. So the next stress that stresses out our nervous system is chemical stress. So this is huge in our environment, where our environment is getting more and more and more toxic. So for us, this is a very big area that we focus a lot on, is reducing the chemical load on our nervous system. So for us, the chemical load is mainly related to food. And so looking at reducing chemical stress in the body through food would be avoiding MSG, aspartame, reducing your processed foods, reducing your sugars. And then we look at things like alcohol, cigarettes, pharmaceutical drugs, vaccines, pollution. So there's a lot of chemical impacts that our nervous system has and doesn't cope very well with. So the oils that we use for chemical stress are mainly based around what we want our digestive system to do, what we want to do to build a really strong, healthy gut. And then also, if we have indulged in something that our body hasn't really enjoyed that much, then we use our beautiful oils to support that as well. So for immune, our main go-tos are On Guard, oregano, and then we also, for our digestive system, love using Digest Zen. Buffy, what would you say in terms of helping support the chemical stress in the body?
Yeah, definitely. So the first one I would go to would be lemon, because it's really supportive of liver and liver detoxification. So what happens is when we have all these either chemical input from our environment, and that can just be toxins in the environment. Oh, sorry.
Using lemon oil in water every day is a beautiful way to boost your liver detoxification process. So that's a go-to for myself.
Sorry about that. Yes, I need a COVID detoxification right now. So fight over a pencil, a very valuable pencil. So lemon is amazing for just helping to support our liver to function properly, because when we've got all these external stresses coming in, and that can be from the environment, toxins, from our food, processed foods, all these things that you were talking about, Christy, like MSG, processed foods, trans fats, then it just puts excess pressure on our liver. And in addition, if we're throwing at it a whole lot of sugar, alcohol as well, and highly inflammatory foods, so things like red meat, dairy, processed foods are going to be higher on the inflammatory scale of things. So if that's all we're doing, then we're putting a whole lot of pressure on our liver, and so it doesn't actually get a chance to detoxify and do all the proper processes around the body that it's meant to do. So what the liver wants to do is process all of our food, process any toxins, and then go, oh, great, I've done all the critical stuff, and now I can go in and actually repair and restore and heal any abnormal cells that may have formed. And they're forming for us every single day. So all of us are creating little cancerous cells. So a cancer is just a plethora of a large grouping of small, abnormal, aberrant cells that have formed. So if we never give our liver a break, the liver just doesn't have time or a chance or energy to go and kill off. So it's a process called cellular atrophy, where it naturally wants to go and kill off those abnormal cells. But if we're throwing all this other stuff like, sugar and alcohol and processed foods and stress works in the same way, then the liver never gets to those cells. And that's when things like cancer effectively develop. So it's important to support our livers to function, and lemon oil is a really good one that you can use. And you can use it just in your water. You can add it to, the way I use it is I add it to a lot of food. So I add it to my salad dressings. I make a creamy cashew aioli. I add it to that. It not only adds an amazing punch of flavor, but you're also getting those detoxifying properties. And then the other oil blend that I do really love for liver detoxification is a blend called Zendocrine. Have any of you guys heard of that one, Zendocrine? Yeah. So that's got a combination of oils in it, which are commonly associated with a detoxification type program. So things like coriander, cilantro, and you can use that in the exact same way. So maybe not in your salad dressings, but in your water. So it's sort of a next level up from just using lemon for liver detoxification.
Thank you. And then the third stress that our nervous system has to deal with is emotional stress. So at the moment, we're all feeling that. Whew. And so this can look like fear, anger, resentment, anxiety, depression, financial stress, relationship stress, work stress. So stress impacts the nervous system significantly, and this is the area that I've been working on a lot for my own well-being, especially over the last 7 years. And so making sure I have a beautiful ritual to support my emotional well-being is really important. So here's a great fun fact for you. The only nerve in the human body, and there are millions of them, that actually has any access to the outside world is our olfactory nerve, which is our smell. And so when we smell an oil, what happens is the essential oil will hit the nerve and it will communicate straight up to the brain, and it will signal a release of our good hormones, which are serotonin and dopamine, which makes us feel good. So this is amazing. You can just grab any oil you want, stick it under that little nostril and sniff it, and you will have an instant effect to the brain through the olfactory nerve, and it will release your beautiful, happy, healthy, feel-good hormones, which is so exciting. So never underestimate just putting a drop of oil on your palm and just making your own little cup diffuser with your hands. Every hour of the day lately, I've been doing that. What do I need now? Do I need grounding? Do I need calming? Do I need some energy? What do I need to help us through this isolation journey? But as I've been significantly affected by panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I have had some pretty profound moments where these oils have moved me out of one of those experiences in a matter of minutes, which has been life-changing for me, because they could have gone on and on and on and on. So as well as learning to master my mind, keeping my nervous system has been critical in this, but then also having my oils there right in that moment when I can start to feel that my nervous system's tipping and my mind is moving into a state that isn't going to serve me. The huge one for me has been vetiver. So I'll let Buffy speak to this in just a moment, but vetiver for me can change my anxiety state in a matter of moments. So that one's been amazing. Lavender Peace is my go-to every time I have a bath. I put it in my diffuser at night. Balance is really, really grounding and beautiful for me. And I've also used the Adaptive as well. So there've been some of the ones that have really supported my emotional state, but have also had such a dramatic effect on the way my nervous system interprets emotional stress. So Buffy, did you want to share anything on those oils?
Yeah, absolutely. Torrance is having a bit of a sniff ski of lemon. Can you smell? Smell? It's actually so funny. Just as we segue, he gets rollers now. He's 18 months, gets rollers, takes the lid off, lifts his tummy up and starts rolling it on his tummy.
Yes.
And you know, it's a really nice thing that you can actually start doing with kids. And obviously, as long as you're using oils that are the more sensitive, gentle, safer oils, and then I'm super comfortable with him having a whiff of lemon oil right now. So on vetiver, we lovingly refer to vetiver as our horse tranquilizer. So I originally thought that vetiver was really just used for sleep. It acts in a way in that it really grounds and calms the nervous system, so it can be used for sleep. But the reason that it is used for sleep is because it can actually just focus and calm a busy mind. So it's made from a grass, and if you take it before bed, and you can do it in a number of different ways. You could rub it in a massage oil all over your feet, particularly on your big toe. Neat, works really well. You can have it in the diffuser. So I would do both of those. If you can also actually try putting a drop under your tongue. It is very, very strong, so that's sort of the last step I would use. Try the other two first. But in the same way that it will calm the nervous system so that you can actually quieten the mind and fall asleep, you can actually use that during the day as well. And so there have been quite a lot of people who've used that quite successfully with children who have an inability to focus, or possibly are on a sort of ADHD spectrum type brain activity. Same way vetiver can actually help to ground root and actually help them focus. So feel free to use that not only for sleep, but also if you are feeling a bit sort of manic, stressed, sort of heightened, or during the day. Classic example, yesterday it was like 4:30. I hadn't started, well, in my mind, I hadn't started anything of real substance in terms of work, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's 4:30, total waste of the day, looking at what I have to do, and there was 15 different things, and your brain cannot focus on 15 things. It's been shown that your brain can focus at any one time on ideally 3, but up to maximum 7 things. So it's interesting how things come in threes, right? Like 3's a charm, first, second and third place. Let's do X, Y, and Z. Humans use this concept of threes because that is what our brain can hold. It can, some people can hold up to 7 ideas at once, but anything over that becomes just overwhelm and blurriness. And so if you are in a feeling like that, like, oh my gosh, I've got 50 different things to do and I don't even know where to start, and now I'm just going to do none of them and go have a glass of wine because I'm feeling really stressed, then cut your list down to max 7, ideally 3, but also use vet of a route to actually help you to focus on a singular task at hand.
Beautiful. Thank you. So I am quite a panicked flyer. I have lots of stress around flying, and I have been known to drop vetiver under the tongue while I'm sitting next to somebody, and literally the rest of the flight I just sit there going, wow, this plane feels like just bubbles. I feel like I'm just a champagne bubble just floating in the sky, whereas normally I'd be like, oh my God, no, like literally, like my nervous system is, I'm going to die. So yeah, if you do ever feel like dropping one under the tongue, it's pretty beautiful. Yes. Cool. The other thing that the nervous system absolutely loves are beautiful cell regenerating, inflammatory reducing supplements. So Buffy, I don't know if you want to speak to the LLV, but the light vitality has been also another game changer in the way that my nervous system copes with physical, chemical and emotional stress.
Yeah, so we've talked about this in some of our other wellness workshops the last couple of weeks, but there's this concept that the human body, when we're born, we don't really need supplements. We should be able to get what we need through our food, but for a number of different reasons, as we go on through life, we're less capable of absorbing what we need into the body to function optimally. And this is for a number of different reasons. We're aging. So our ability to absorb nutrients is just naturally declining over time, particularly after age 30, unfortunately. So if we eat an apple and our child eats an apple, they're going to absorb more of the nutrients, more of the vitamins, minerals, coenzymes in that apple than we are, just because of age. And then the other thing is that because of our upbringing or our life experience to date, stress and other sort of toxins and all the pressure that we put on our liver means that we're less able to absorb nutrients, but also that there's a much lower level of actual vitamins and minerals in our food supply now because of how we grow our plants. So we monocrop plants instead of rotating plants in general, and so an orange these days has a fraction of the vitamin C of what an orange traditionally had. So even if we are eating a delicious whole foods, heavy plant focused diet, most of the time we are going to be getting less nutrients than let's say a 5-year-old did 40 years ago. So as a result, having some sort of broad spectrum supplementation is actually really, really beneficial, just to make sure you fill in any gaps or deficiencies that you have. And the way I visualize it in my mind is always as like a bar chart. So, you've got your 2 axes like this, and you've got little bars for every single vitamin, mineral and coenzyme, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them. So way more than we can ever test for through blood tests or other testing. And so if you've got of these hundreds, quite a few bars up high, there's a high bar, little bar, high bar, high, and then there's a few in the negatives, and you can't test for which ones are negatives. It could be any combination of 4 or 5 different negatives that are completely different for you than they are for me or someone else, and that could be leading to chronic fatigue, mental exhaustion, and inflammation in the body. Whatever symptoms you're experiencing could be as a result of some of those vitamins, minerals, coenzymes being low. So if you have some sort of broad spectrum supplementation and good quality supplementation that's highly absorbable to the body, then you're just going to actually just top up those little negative bars back to ground zero, so that your body can function as it wants to. Because as Christy was saying at the beginning, our bodies want to heal themselves. Like, they want to get back into homeostasis. So we just have to support them to do that. And one example I often give of this is that if we cut ourselves, or let's say if this guy falls over and grazes his knee, what is quite remarkable to me is that within 2 days, the graze on the knee is completely gone. It's completely healed. The new skin has regenerated on top of the cut, and it looks brand new. And so that's an exact example of, lemon oil. That's an exact example of the body wanting to return to homeostasis, and of this healing process happening all over the body on its own. So we didn't have to do anything to that scratch, and yet it's healed itself. And so the same thing is happening all over our body, inside with our organs, and we just need to support it to do that process properly.
Beautiful, thank you. So I guess just in finishing up, one of the things that I'd love you to know is that with chiropractic, a lot of people have the perception, well, there's lots of myths around it, that it's like, why do you always have to go back? Why can't they fix you? And I'd just like to talk to that for a moment, because this is a big one that we get asked a lot. So for us, health is an ongoing journey, and it's the things that we do every day and the choices that we make every day that are going to make us either move towards health or move towards dis-ease and disease. And so for us, if we know that the nervous system is paramount for our healing, our repair, our regulation, our immune system, our hormones, our injury prevention, our recovery, our everything, our proprioception, the way we understand where our bodies are in space, if our nervous system is controlling all of that, who wouldn't want that to be in balance? I know I wouldn't. Because if our body and our nervous system is out of balance, we are not going to be the best versions of ourselves. And so for us, one of our health tools that we have is that we get our nervous system adjusted so it sits in balance and harmony. Now, if someone was going to say to me, well, how often do I have to come back? Well, that depends on how much stress you have in your body, because your body's designed to heal itself. It can heal itself, but if the stresses from your environment are too much, your nervous system's going to keep blowing fuses and interrupt that flow of information. So for some people, that could happen daily. For some people who have a really clean system and their nervous system stress is low, that might be monthly, fortnightly, weekly, I don't know, but it depends on each individual's environment and what's stressing it out. But what I do know is that if I didn't brush my teeth for 1 week or 1 year or 17 years when I got my first chiropractic adjustment, the health of your nervous system is going to be quite disgusting. So for our family, maintenance is really important. So we maintain our health and well-being through different avenues. And so for people that say, do I have to keep going back? You don't have to, but do you want to only brush your teeth once a year? Do you only want to put your garbage bin out once a year? Do you only want to mow your lawns once a year? What is your maintenance cycle to keep your nervous system free and clear so that it can sit in homeostasis as much as possible and be able to adapt to your stresses as easy as possible? So I hope that makes more sense and helps you understand why chiropractic can be a part of your wellness routine. It's not just about, I have a bad back, I'll go get adjusted. I have a headache, I'll go get adjusted. It's a part of your wellness routine that keeps your nervous system, which is your master control system, firing so that your body can express itself to its full potential. So in our home, the same with our oils, is we don't only use our oils when we are sick or have symptoms. We have a wellness ritual around our oil use as well, because we know that what we're doing daily or hourly is going to have a massive impact on us moving towards health and well-being. So if anyone wants to talk about different protocols, daily wellness protocols for yourself or your children, then we can do that at a later time. But that's another thing to also think about. When we're thinking about health, it's what are we doing day by day by day that's moving us into a state of health and well-being. Cool. So I think that's everything that I needed or wanted to share.
Christy, and I love that. I love that concept is just what we're doing every single day, and also something I really love talking to clients about is it's what you're doing most of the time. Turn the dial. So it's eating well 80% of the time most days.
Yes.
It's using your oils 80% of the time most days. It's going to get your adjustments and your body will respond to what you're doing 80% of the time. So it's not about achieving some sense of perfection in terms of what you're doing, because your body, you know, our bodies are pretty resilient and they can handle the odd glass of wine and slice of chocolate cake and late night out and party with friends, and you know, they can handle some things like that. So as long as what we're doing 80% of the time is sort of ticking the boxes, then that's, I really feel like that's enough, because we also just want to be out there enjoying life and not living in a you know, like a box. So yeah, what I've seen with people who are living really healthy lives is that they do the right things 80% of the time, and 20% of the time they enjoy themselves and don't worry too much. Because one big part of what we're talking about with nervous system health is about our mind and our thoughts. And if we're constantly stressed because we're not able to achieve some ideal of however life should look, then that's actually going to cause more issues, more inflammation, more damage in the body and in the central nervous system than the green smoothie would have done in the first place, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was so great. Thank you so much, Christy, and thanks so much, Buffy.